Check this out. I gotta adjust again. Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, this is the voice of the conscience of a white supremacist telling you all to make some fucking noise, all right? I want you to first make some noise for Bullock Cart for organizing this, okay? So everybody make some noise, all right? Okay? And I want you to make more noise for the poets who stepped on this stage. They worked really hard to be here, so please make some noise. And last but not least, make some noise for y'all, because otherwise this would be a very lonely event. So make some noise for y'all, okay? So we're going to do a little bit of... She's really happy, but she's leaving at the same time. It doesn't make sense. You coming back, though, right? You coming back, though? No? Okay. We'll see if we can convince her. So usually I do this call and response to get the energy up, all right? Do you know what call and response is? It means I say something and you say something back, okay? Is that cool? Do you understand what I'm... Okay. And I always just think of random shit. So the easiest one is Bullock Cart, right? So when I say Bullock, y'all say cart, right? Right? Got it? Okay? Because otherwise this will be weird, all right? All right. So when I say Bullock, y'all say cart. Bullock? Cart. Bullock? Cart. When I say spoken, y'all say word. Spoken? Word. Spoken? Word. This side is like not showing me love. I don't know. What did I do to you? What did I... Please. Let's try that again, okay? When I say spoken, y'all say word. Spoken? Word. Spoken? Word. There we go. So, all right. So that's about as much energy as I got right now. Thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for braving the monsoon to be here. Today we've been doing poetry. Oh, this is my trick. If you've ever wanted to get into performance poetry and are afraid, boom. I am now fearless. I could be even less afraid if they would turn off those lights. Can someone turn off those lights, for real? Turn off those lights, please. Hey, gracias. Okay. It's funny, I say gracias a lot here. Because I grew up in the US, everybody knows. Anyway, shut up. All right, cool. So we're going to start with, we've been talking about hope, right? Like, that's the topic of, ooh, this is nice. All right. We've been talking about hope. And really, considering the times we live in, hope is like a miracle to have, right? I'm obviously of an American background, hidden in an Indian. And I'm here because Trump's... No. It's not a bad place to be as a brown man right now. But honestly, I am very hopeful about the world. And that's because there's still love in this world. You know, despite all of the anger, the violence, the hatred, the fear, people still love. You know what I mean? Are you digging me? I need y'all to snap for a second. So if you dig what I say, do a little snap, all right? Because now I can't see you. I can only hear you. So that helps. So tonight, I'm going to meditate on love a little bit with y'all, okay? But I think if you want to have an honest conversation about love, you need to talk about pain. Because love is embedded with pain, right? Like, at some point when you experience love, you're going to feel pain. But I believe when you experience that pain, you're offered a choice. You can let it bleed into anger, fear, and hatred, and then your pain dies, or rather is transformed into those things. Or you can let pain bleed into beauty, into poetry, into music, into a greater sense of love, right? For example, imagine a guitarist pulling strings, giving life to a piece of wood like a puppeteer. I wonder, did the tree ever predict it could sing so sweetly when the woodcutter was tearing at its side? When your eyelids close mine open. See, we just live on two separate sides of an ocean. You live somewhere on my top eyelid, as I await slumber on the shores of my bottom eyelid, knowing that the distance between us is merely my every waking moment. To the beloved of my dreams, why do you keep my nightmares company? I remember when you pulled me out of the pack, how your winds pull me into your breast, how your lungs pull me into your warmth. But now I have reached the moment of expiration away from your warmth. Now I know it's selfish, but I feel so jealous when the kiss of another makes you feel the same way. Look, I don't expect you to understand, because I'm more addicted to you than you are addicted to me. See, baby, I'm a cigarette. And every time we kiss, I provide you a pleasure, but you provide me a purpose. And tell me, what can be more addicting than a reason to live? It is not the sting of whips on my back that makes me work relentlessly. It is the hope that when the day is through, all I can do is crawl into an empty bed and find you in my dreams. Every night, I come to you in chains, knowing all the while that if I am not the source of my own happiness, I will continue to be a slave. You know, I should have noticed the strings dangling from your mouth when you kissed me for the first time. Your tongue tied the other ends to my heart, so that with every movement of your lips, my heart danced. And now that they are drifting away, my heart feels the agonizing pull of tightening strings that are tuned to the ears of lost pilgrims. Upon them, I compose beauty from pain like spirituals rising from plantations. It seems that all my songs will be played upon the strings of attachment until they irreparably rip open my locked heart, so that all of its prisoners are set free, and no one can be denied its shelter. You know, she was a fire. And I am the moth that dances around her. These words are the shadows I cast onto a page. So as I try to explain her, I drape a veil over the light I wish to show you. She wears it like a flag. How else can I see the wind? But through the gaps between the threads, I can still peek into the Tibetan store on 18th Street where I found my clay woman. If you've never been, I suggest you to go. It's an authentic experience. The store carries the quaint calm of a small hill station on the lost side of a Himalayan mountain. The man at the register greets his customers with an age-old Tibetan store saying, he says, "Today, everything 20% off." She is inspecting the other idols on the table when I first saw the spark in her eyes like the gunpowder lacing her lips. Her laugh is a firecracker. How do I put her into words? We are opposites. She is barely 5'2", and I might be the tallest Indian you've ever seen. She might have a megaphone crammed in her throat, and despite this performance, I'm usually about as loud as a conservative in any country when a minority is killed by the police. Even the Tibetan man noticed our differences. He said, You Muslim, you Hindu, together. See, where we're from, nations and bodies have been severed because of that difference. And our families could be next. They say what we're doing is wrong, but I'm learning sin is used by those who view repression as sanctity, and I was one of those trying to erode a hardened habit under Bodhi tree, and I know it's possible. I've seen it when we've reshaped each other, and I treasure the nights I am reminded when my fingers wander the deserts of her skin, writing refreshing rivers of calligraphy as they trickle down her barren body, collecting in those tender places. There, they spend a while as paradise flourishes on the banks of every stroke. Her thighs press against each other like prayer hands, trying to restrain a flood of desires. Is this wrong? Are you gonna use me up? She ponders. You know, I used to be prettier. White strands laced through black hair like lightning bolts in a midnight shower. Why do I care what you think? You never really knew how to be there for me, she claims. Well, I'm not perfect, but don't tell me I haven't been trying consistently. A person can only hear they suck at loving so many times. Teardrops fall on pictures of happier days. They wrinkle like the skin on the sides of her lips when she smiles. Have you ever noticed when we pluck a rose, we kill it because we recognize it is beautiful? You have no idea how much I wanted this poem to have a resolution. But I don't know what's right. But I do know a desert does not resist a shower just because it has not come with a monsoon. So while she's still in my hands, I will squeeze her until her every arch and curve leave creases in my palm, so an oracle can read how she has shaped my destiny. Skin against skin, our bodies press tightly together like two pages inside of an epic. He slides into her through the broken end of an unfinished sentence as a gasp flutters from the cocoon in her throat. Love forbidden, they are two pages ripped out of an epic, bleeding in the rain. And sometimes when I am lost in her flames and my shadows disappear, in those moments, I am without fear. After all, what more can you lose if you have already lost yourself? Love can be like that, right? Sometimes. Like a drop of ice in the ocean. And melting is just the realization of that truth. That you're home, right? You're home. And sometimes that home is not just a home, but a palace. A palace with new rooms every day that you discover. Every day you see something you've never seen before, right? Love can be like that. And though you see things you've never seen before, you never feel like you don't belong. Like this isn't your home. You never feel like you're a foreigner, right? Until you do. Like things have changed a bit too much. And you still might say, I love you. You still might write love letters. But when I read them out loud, they leave paper cuts in my mouth. But you assure me You'll handle the talking. And then you tell everyone that India needs you to stand for the national anthem in the theater before every movie. Kani, I'm really not that jealous of Bahubali. You say India has border disputes with Pakistan, but I was never partitioned, just given new names. Like North Carolina. Did you know I grew up there? But you want to know where I'm really from, because I don't belong in your America, but I'm still America. You used to call me Osama back in high school while I was stretching to fit in. That's the immigrant yoga position. But listen, Carolina won't just bend to your opinion. It'll relax into the posture of a North Carol Indian. Outcast whistling while chilling in a lungi. Maybe one day, Telugulo rap cheskuntundi. But the soul will be the same no matter what language it sings this. Even Gandhi would be proud the way I'm killing the English. But you're not impressed. You're not impressed. Because you believe your India should be speaking Pakka Telugu. And I currently speak the language of my colonizer better than my mother's. Kani, even the Telugu left paper cuts. When news hit that Srinivas Kuchabutla, a Telugu IT professional, was murdered in Kansas by a white man who thought Srinivas was Middle Eastern, of Muslim background. On the front page of a newspaper in Hyderabad, you wrote me a letter to process the fact that a Hindu was just murdered because of Islamophobia. In one article, you grieved with me, saying what a tragedy it was if only the killer didn't mistake Srinivas to be a Muslim, advising me to look more obviously Hindu in the future. You know, your tone is so anesthetic that I didn't even notice the paper cuts your love letters left until I saw the parts of me you never acknowledged pleading on the floor. Churu, I want you to know that sometimes I pray in a mosque and I wear short skirts and make love with the opposite caste and the same gender and cross borders as an immigrant, as undocumented as Brett's. And sometimes I'm you, stabbing me with an American flag in your front yard, put a pistol in your back pocket saying you love America, just can't trust America. And sometimes I'm Srinivas, smiling, laughing, enjoying the company of friends, Manchiabai. He even spoke English. You could have talked to him. Instead, you held your breath as if it's some old definition of your country that you wrote me about in a letter where you affectionately called me home. Oh, patriot, your country asks you, when did you stop loving me and start loving your expectations of me? Don't you know we will all be foreigners to tomorrow? Loving is immigration. So home cannot be knowing your own language. It's knowing that you can make a language your own. Be fluent in trust if you want to love someone fully, so you may at least dialogue with the parts of them you can't understand. Otherwise, well, I guess without that language, even an honest smile and honest fear on a brown man's face doesn't translate. Instead, you send me letters written with bullets and call it love of country. You know, I didn't realize you could use love as a synonym for hate. You know, if I could make one change to the English language, I would put a mandatory period after the word love. So you couldn't say things like, I love my country, or I love my religion, or whatever. It's just either you love or you don't. That's it. That's it. Love indiscriminately. So the other day, I was in Hyderabad. That's where I'm from, actually, originally. My grandparents are there. And I was visiting them. And like in the afternoons, evenings, I would go on jogs. I would go running. And one day when I went running, this cow stepped onto the sidewalk. You know, it's India, of course. Cow stepped on the sidewalk and takes this big shit, like right there, a nice, juicy, wet shit, you know? And like, word, okay. And then, of course, continues on its path, and I jog past, right? And then the next day, I jogged the same path. The shit's still there. No one's cleaned it. I guess no one would. But what was interesting is in the shit, there was like these tiny little sprouts growing, right? And I could imagine one day those sprouts become flowers. And it occurred to me, you can't love the flower without loving the shit from which it grows, right? Everything's interdependent. You can't love good without loving evil. Everything defines itself in respect to itself. You can't love the lotus without loving the mud from which it grows. That's what loving indiscriminately means, you know? And it's something I forget like 99% of my life, right? 99% of my time. But, you know, I want to show you all that, okay? But in order to show you all that, for you to see this, you have to close your eyes, okay? So I know it's kind of crazy to ask, but I want y'all to all close your eyes. And I can't tell if you're closing your eyes, but it'd be cool. Don't worry. You look sexiest when your eyes are closed, don't worry. You know? So everyone close your eyes and see this. Imagine the air, the humid air approaches, already heavy with tears. I tell it, I am a religion with a conscience. I'm not comfortable being believed in. I know the kind of chaos that causes. In return, it just embraced me. As if to say, when its heart splits, it multiplies. Locals, even children passionately kiss the humidity when they speak. Must have amnesia for insulin. Somehow we can savor all their sweet words that melt into nothing without succumbing to cynicism. It's overwhelming. I order a mango roast just for the contrast, just to prove to my kidneys I wasn't breathing in the juice, only water. Don't worry. I won't be drowning for too long. I'll grow gills before I grow enough taste buds for this city. Always been better at not dying than living. Now I want all of you to open your eyes. Just open your eyes. Take a deep breath. A deep, deep breath. And live.